3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
How are you guys? So sorry about this. My wife and I, we had a large miscommunication.
Sorry about that.
No worries. That's funny. And we were saying I laughed out loud when you sent that text. 'Cause, I mean, that's pretty much our lives. Married 3 kids, married 2 kids. Pretty much everything is yeah, I know we said we were going to get together, but I forgot to tell Nicole. So yeah.
I read that and thought to myself, did I send that? Like, was that me?
Well, you know, it was funny though, because I made special, like for me, I usually screw it up. Like it's like 99.999% of it is me, like always me. And she's nodding her head along to this. Because it is me most of the time. But this time, I went out of my way and was like, I asked her on Monday before I sent the email, and it just somehow how I asked her, I probably screwed this one up again, because how I asked didn't make it clear.
No, for some reason I just have no recollection of the conversation.
Maybe you got COVID brain or something.
Yeah, which doesn't mean it didn't happen. I just was obviously not focusing on him at the time.
Which is quite all right.
Again, this is like deja vu.
Yeah. Well, it is an absolute pleasure to meet both of you.
Yeah.
In real time and in person. Taz, thank you very much for kicking the crap out of us for the last 2 weeks. It's been
real.
I've been getting a lot of comments by folks. I do the morning classes, Eric does the evening classes, but a lot of comments of like, is it always going to be this hard? Like, is this now like the new thing? I'm like, it's okay. You guys are just adapting. Anytime you do something new, you'll be okay. It'll settle in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it cracks me up because sometimes we get, I mean, people who transition from different things, like people who are just used to doing so much in any given day.
Yeah.
That sometimes people transition, they're like, where's more stuff? And I'm like, what do you mean more stuff? I am so confused how you could want more when what she delivers is what it is. Anyway, but yeah, I
think for us, we've been doing kind of that single focus GPP for so long, but I definitely realize I'm too nice. I mean, I've been coaching some of these people for like 6 years. And so it's like, oh, Drew just likes to take the first 10 minutes to get warmed up. And Sally, she'll catch up and now it's like, no. The boss said like, we got to get this done. And then we got to get this done. And like the warm-ups and the skill progression. And so I'm like, no, it's not me, guys. Like, we got to get this shit done. Like, come on. We got to go. And they're like, I'm not warm yet. Oh God. And so that's the intensity of like, and believe me, when I got a job to do, like, I become very mission focused. Yeah. Like, it's time to get to work.
It was so funny too with something like yesterday's warm-ups. Like Jack, I think Jack will sell himself short. I think Jack's a phenomenal programmer. And I think one thing that we've found too with your programming, not to dive into the podcast like right out of the bat, but it's like the warm-ups and the skill work stuff beforehand. So yesterday's warm-up was the after a bunch of stuff was the 20 air squats and then the
plate
drive the bus. And then the plates overhead, and then drive the bus. And so we go through that one time, and I was like, all right, we're gonna do the whole thing one more time. They're like, what? What? Again? Wait, there's a workout, right? So anyway.
It's awesome. So bottom line, I think that I just like to say that out loud for you guys have really cracked the code. And right, like I'm sure you're gonna be humble and say like, oh, well, whatever. But I gotta believe, like, and that's some of my questions, like, you've had to have had some trial and error and still, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't going to work. This is going to work, and kind of hit like a sweet spot. And it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's really nice to be able to defer to somebody else sometimes, like you're saying, especially when you've been coaching for so long. You do kind of get into a rhythm, and being able to just be like, well, I had nothing to do with this. This is what we're doing today.
Yeah.
I've been blaming you all week.
Totally fine. Yeah. December was a hard one because we had so many people really wanting to do some fitness testing, and without trying to throw in all the fitness testing workouts, and then giving other people what they want. So yeah, it was a challenge to program for December. So hopefully people aren't too beat up by the end of it.
I mean, today was a blast.
I just reviewed, or I did all the videos for next week, and I was going through them all, and it was like, okay, all right, you're gonna be pretty sore going into this day, like next week's good. You guys are gonna enjoy it. It'll be a fun one.
Well, I think at some point I do all the editing on this thing, so at some point I'm sure we are kind of in it, but we should probably do some official intros. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds. Yeah. We named it. I mean, this whole thing started. Yeah. Evening guy, morning guy. It kind of started to almost create like two gyms. There were, we're not that big. We're still only at about 50 or 60 members. But there would be whole afternoon, evening people that I had never seen, and they didn't even really know. They knew me by name, but they didn't really know me. And so we started doing this podcast as kind of us to
like a bridge.
Yeah, it's kind of bridge between the kind of creation. And Annapolis is a weird town because you get people that leave the city or leave this town and go into DC or Baltimore to work and then come back. So like I'll have morning people that come work out and then they're gone all day. And then he'll get evening people that have left to go to work and then come back. But like we're sort of on this peninsula in Annapolis where if you're down here, you either live down here or you're working down here. And so that's been why we sort of started it. But yeah, we'd love to, kind of if you guys sort of maybe introduce yourselves or tell us, I don't know, this is kind of that, maybe not so much origin, but like maybe that 30-second elevator pitch of some of our folks may not know exactly who you are and what we're doing and what you're doing. Does that make sense? That was a really weird question.
Yeah. No, for sure. I can start. My name is Pat. We run warm up and workout. I've been doing CrossFit since like 2004. I've been in every aspect of CrossFit, from selling the gear to teaching the seminars to competing in the games. And the best thing that I ever got from CrossFit was finding a wife, and then having 3 wonderful little boys. And now we run warm up and workout, and using all our experience, we help gyms run better gyms, essentially.
That was well done.
Wow. Okay.
And she's the wife I found.
Yeah, I'm the wife.
Oh,
now I'm putting it together.
Now there it is.
Well done. Way to bring that all the way around, buddy.
So my CrossFitting journey started in New Zealand in 2007. I opened up the first CrossFit gym there with a partner, and then I met Pat at the 2009 CrossFit Games, and the rest is kind of history. But yeah, similar story to Pat. I've been on the seminar staff, and we've helped open up multiple gyms in California. Currently, we're trying to be homesteaders on a 5-acre property with our 3 boys, and sort of trying to raise chickens and build stuff. And we don't really know what we're doing, but we are trying our best. And yeah, it's kind of us.
She's also selling herself short, much like anyone who's incredible at programming like you did earlier. She's also the brains behind everything that we do. So like I never went anywhere in life, both metaphorically and literally, until I met her. It was like I'd never left Santa Cruz. I'd never done anything, and now I've been around the world multiple times and run multiple businesses, and it's all because of the brains right there. So
that's awesome.
Her expertise is in making things happen and doing things really, really well.
So Taz, I got a question. So you were in New Zealand. How did you hear about CrossFit? Was it something you just found online? Was it the sports background? Like what's that like? Was it in a gym?
Yeah, so I was finishing my sport and exercise science degree at the University of Auckland, and we ran I worked at the university gym, and we just kind of started creating a youth program, like a strength conditioning youth program, and we started using Olympic lifts and just more functional type movements for young swimmers, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with any swimmers, but the kind of typical swimmer, how do I put it nicely? They're quite uncoordinated.
Yes.
They're,
No ball sports for them.
yeah, they're really good in the water, but when you take them out of the water, they're just they're a little uncoordinated. So we were just trying to that to swimming. And my partner, who I started CrossFit with, he kind of stumbled across the .com website, and we did a couple of workouts, and they, of course, like put us on our butts. But at the time, we were like, well, this isn't sports science, and there's no progression, and there's no linear progression. And we were very kind of like, well, we know better than this. And then it kind of just kept popping up, and we kept doing the workouts, and we actually started really enjoying them. And I started getting stronger. I was a sprint kayaker at the time. And so then we kind of just put our egos aside, and we traveled to Australia. They had a few gyms open at the time, and we just kind of learned how a CrossFit box was running. And then I think when we got home the next month, we opened CrossFit New Zealand. It all happened really quickly, but yeah, we were hooked, line and sinker after about 6 months of just kind of utilizing it.
Of saying it sucked. 6
saying
months
it
of saying it
sucked.
sucked.
Yeah.
And doing it.
Right.
That's it, right? That kind of is the standard
Yeah.
story.
This thing is so stupid, but I'm into it.
So, I mean,
Yeah, but
that's almost right. Like you guys are coming up on the second decade of doing this. Has there been sort of those challenges of like, has it ever gotten old, or sort of that you've lost interest, it wanes back and forth? You know what I mean? Like you've come up against those kind of like, is this all we're doing? Is there something else? Have you come across that? And if so, like, how do you kind of navigate keeping it fresh?
Yeah,
I dropped it.
for me, it's actually one of the consistent things in my life. I feel like it hasn't waned, but for sure the focus, like how intense we are about CrossFit, has changed. So I went right from the start. I started training as an athlete for CrossFit. Like I wanted to compete in it right away, and that's definitely evolved over time. So now it's not about competing; it's just about staying fit. And then I think all the things that come with CrossFit, you know, the nutrition and the just like wanting to talk about it all the time, and wanting to eat paleo and wanting to, you know, do everything that's, you know, the obsessive nature about CrossFit. I think that's definitely come and gone a little bit for us, and we're just more realistic with what we can achieve now. You know, we eat a certain way. We try and be very healthy still, but we're not, by no means, we don't eat as strict as we used to eat. I think everything's kind of relaxed a little bit. We understand everything so deeply that we kind of we have the tools, and we know when we need to grab them or when we need to use them. They're there, but definitely on a day-to-day basis, I don't think we're as intense about it. Still passionate, but not
Right.
I like that. I like that delineation. That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that happens over time. I think the deeper you understand it, the more you appreciate it, for me at least. Like when you're surface level and you're just getting in, like you feel the need to defend it. You feel the need to, like, you know, put other stuff down or whatever it may be. And I think with CrossFit, like the deeper you get to understand it, the more real you realize it is. You know, the more there's these like hidden truths within really basic sayings. And it's interesting, like, because definitely the style of training has always been consistent. It's constantly varied, functional movements executed at high intensity, but like the way you hit that and where it plays a role in your life, whether it's auxiliary to everything else that you do or it is everything that you do, that's shifted through our lives. From being full-time competitors and being in the gym, you know, 7 days a week, to being not competitors and to training a few days a week, and still being really passionate about the program and the delivery, but just not having the same, making it more auxiliary to everything else that we do to support the rest of our lives.
Yeah. I really, that very well said, kind of from both sides of it. And I like that, Pat, of the idea of the deeper you get, and you nailed it, you start to lose the need to defend it. Like, I feel like it's sort of that, it almost becomes, and actually I wrote down a question of like, how do you stay considerate to the people who then kind of ask those questions when they're new and they're like, well, right. And the old arguments pop up, and, you know, the elephant in the room of, you know,
Good old Jillian.
Yeah, good old Jillian's. But I mean, like, that's representative of that narrative that just somehow, like a vampire myth, just keeps showing up. It just won't die.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the challenge of how to stay considerate to answering that question without getting frustrated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I mean, to stay inconsiderate to that is really trying to figure out, for me, it's trying to figure out why they would be asking those questions.
Yeah.
You know, like, because a lot of the times when you uncover it a little bit, it's just a misunderstanding more than anything else. The thing that, like, for normal people, when I run into them, it's really easy for me to stay considerate, because usually there's just a quick back and forth where they'll say something silly like, yeah, but it hurts everyone. And you'll be like, well, let's talk about that. I'm happy to dispel that myth for you, because I've got, plenty of things to back that's not true. And then they'll, hopefully you clear up the misconception and you get that person on board, and all of a sudden they're CrossFitting. But with a person like Jillian Michaels, it's different. She's got a 1.8 million, following platform that she can just spout BS from. And there it's a little harder to stay considerate. I think what happens there is you kind of have to understand that being inconsiderate won't change anything.
Yeah.
It'll just make you feel a little better.
Yeah. It's the easy, right? It's the easy response.
Well, for sure. But yeah, no, I actually really enjoy, like, the more comfortable I get with the information, the more I enjoy the hard conversation.
Yeah.
So I teach now, if somebody comes in with the, like, I don't like this stuff, I love that, because, like, I get the opportunity to change their mind over the course of 2 days, and I feel very confident about doing so, because I've got this material, like, in my bones now.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it now.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna, not to, like, beat this horse, but I was watching your, the video you did, kind of going through Jillian's commentary, and I texted Jack, and when she said that stuff a couple of years ago, like, we kind of was like, everyone's talking about it. It's kind of this thing that's just getting beaten to death, and it is what it is. Like, if you let yourself get worked up over it, like, what good is that going to do? And I really enjoyed watching your video, because it was
funny.
It was funny, and I loved watching you, because you were, like, right out the gate, you're super respectful, and here's this person that, like, you're not gonna be able to sit here and have a conversation with them. So it was like the super respectful point of view of, like, okay, this is where she's coming from, and this is what she's saying, and I understand. And I loved watching you also, like, not slowly start to unravel, but it's this thing that, like, you're passionate about, and you've put so much time and effort in. And then when you close it out with the, like, look, it's you can decide whether or not you want to understand this and learn about it or not. So you can, when you have that conversation with someone, they may already have their mind made up as it's this thing, and they're just humoring you. And if that's the case, fine. I love talking about it. So that's your, that's your problem, not mine. But I think you're absolutely right. I think we've been doing this long enough now that when someone even wants to come at us with some of those, like, the myths or the concerns or the comments that just seem so outlandish, I understand it coming from the outside looking in, because you've just been bombarded with it.
Well, it's also
level.
Also kind of the same narrative, or a similar argument around if somebody's doing strength bias and we switch to GPP or a single workout, or do we need to do more? As you said, you get comfortable. Well, let's talk about that. What do you mean by volume? Define your term. Like, what do you mean by intensity? Define your term. So I think it all falls into that same area of, it's a conversation. Let's have a conversation about it.
Which is weird, because I think in this day and age, like, being so charged, right? Like, we don't find people having conversations who disagree. Right now, it's like, it's about spouting your BS on a social platform that has no back and forth, and not having, like, a respectful it's not even to come to an understanding, or come to a, like, because you can disagree and still be friends. Like, that's possible. Like, I have a friend who messaged me after watching that video, and he's like, hey man, I really liked that video that you did. You know, you and I don't train the same, but I've never felt like you judged me for how I trained. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's like, I appreciate that about you. And I was like, yeah. And then kind of joking but serious, I was like, yeah, you've never come to me and said what I do is better than what you do or makes me more fit. Because if that was the case, then I'd be like, let's have a cup of
Now,
coffee.
yeah, now we can
Yeah.
actually have another conversation.
Yeah.
We'll talk about why you're wrong. But that's
Yeah.
I'm glad that you enjoyed watching me slowly unravel as that video went on, and I got more and more exasperated with the ridiculousness of what
That's
you
what
were
it
saying.
was too. It's just like, oh my God, it's so it's so exhausting, but it's like, but yeah, it was fun. It was good. It was on, and I'm not saying it because you're here. It was of all the videos that are out there, like I enjoyed that one the most because it was like a really great way at, this is this thing that we do, and you're saying the same stuff that we hear all the time, and you obviously,
You want to do the jump?
it's real simple. Spend some time actually doing it and learn about it, or don't, and
Yeah.
but here we are.
So we'll put that one away.
Yeah.
Do you guys do you guys ever do you ever miss owning an affiliate or being on the affiliate side? Do you know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
keep saying that. Do you know what I mean?
Every day.
Every day,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
man.
we talk about opening one like probably once a week.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not
be a lot
like
of
we would
gyms.
do it. Well, it's no, not a new one every once a week, just one.
Okay, gotcha.
We love that component of it. We think that's honestly where we excel the most.
Yeah. Yeah, we thrive. I mean, that's why, you know, I don't know if you've been to a level one or if you're at Pat's level one, but you know, Pat thrives in a level one setting. You know, being in front of people and just engaging and connecting with people is like what he does best. And you know, he's great on camera too. And but in person, it's a really the experience is just so unique. And we with a gym, we could do that every day. And we can't do that right now. And it's not in the cards for us, you know, right now with our kids and our lifestyle, but it's definitely not off the cards for the.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, we would never do it like, oh, let's open up a gym to make a bunch of money. Like, it'd be like,
No.
we just want to open up a gym to have a place that we can call home again. Because right now it's like we don't have that. We don't have a group of people who we care about that we can see every day. Like it's hard doing the what we're doing now, which is like trying to create this space in an online, which I'm sure you guys are having a similar thing, trying to create an online connection. Like when we do with warm up and workout, like we're trying to create an online community, but it's just not the same. It's not the same as having someone walk in the door, you putting them through their paces, you're paying attention to their body language, and you're making them better every day. And I don't know, we love it. We do talk about it. We do miss it a lot.
Yeah, we learned pretty quickly that the fitness side of it's important. Clearly, like you have to, I mean, there has to be a rigor of professionalism with what we're providing and doing. But in the end, like we're offering an experience. And I mean, that cliche of like, it's the hour that it's the best hour of their day. And, you know, Pat Sherwood's saying, and all the, you know, now Ackerman and Fern's, you know, whole shtick.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, like that cliche is a cliche because it's freaking true.
Yeah.
And so the experience of it's an anchor of their day. It is the people, probably the 10 to 15 people that they're closest with, even probably more so than their family. And we've made the commitment to them that this is a time and a space that they have available. We've been talking, even as now we're going into Maryland is about to, or our county is about to go into another quarantine or lockdown. We're trying, like the thing we got to hold is that commitment that they have a place at the same time with the same people every day as best as possible. The fitness side of it matters, but it doesn't matter as much as we thought it did the first couple times, first month of year or whatever. And now, and it does, like, that's the part that makes the difference. So I totally appreciate, that's the part that makes owning and running and building that affiliate the best part.
And it's, my wife jokes too, like
Absolutely.
it's the best part. It's a lot of work. Like, I feel like it's, my wife jokes all the time. She goes, you and Jack are like the church of, like, it's more like the church of Fairwinds. because the way like people like texting you and call you about things
Yeah.
like that don't even have, they're not even fitness related. They're just venting you about like their boss or their ex or their, you know, their day. And so like
Right.
it's, and as exhausting as that can be, especially when you have your own stuff to deal with at home, like that connection, it does make this feel like such a, you know, it's more than a brick and mortar with a rig and some barbells.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I'm a
and I
freaking
think-
introvert. And so, so I'm like, by the time we're done, I'm like, don't anybody talk to me. Like I'm out.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm an introvert too. And I think just going back to what you said about like people texting you about things that, you know, I think what happens is people come in wanting a fitness experience and wanting to, you know, reach their fitness goals, but you end up solving a really huge problem that they didn't know they really had. And I think it's the community, the lack of community and the lack of connection with people who really care about them. And that, yeah, and I think that's why it sort of bleeds over to their regular life. Like, well, they should have an answer to this, you know, they've without even really knowing why. Like,
Well, they're the only person who will actually listen to me, so I'm gonna ask them.
Yeah.
Where should I go on
Right,
vacation this?
exactly.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I
It was so funny. I got a
always
phone call the
so
other night,
confused. I mean,
like Sunday night. I was like, "Can I talk to you tomorrow? It's bedtime. Like, I'm putting the kiddos to bed. Can we talk tomorrow?" And it had nothing to do with the gym. It was so funny, sort of.
yeah, it's the best.
What were you gonna say, Pat?
Sometimes. No, I was just gonna say, like, I always was confused by people who open up gyms who don't like people, and like, you can be an introvert and still appreciate people. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just kind of where you get your energy. I've seen people open up gyms who don't really like people, and I'm like, why are you in that was required to, you know, build connections? I don't know, it's weird. I find it a strange thing that I see.
So where do you guys think you go next? Like kind of ride the, we're calling it woo-wo, kind of ride your
Woo-wo?
your woo-wo.
Whoa.
It fits for Woo Wednesday. That's Eric's thing with who is it? Who's the wrestler?
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair's Woo Wednesday. It rolled right into it.
Beautiful.
Next thing I think for us, we're trying to continue to develop relationships that are closer to our gym. So trying to do more coaching development and more community development and mindset development. We've already kind of launched into that with our Life Outside the Box stuff, where we do the parenting and kind of relationship mindset stuff. And I think that's kind of where we take it from here, because I think the base, like, programming can be done poorly, and programming like session plans can be done poorly, but I think we've got that system set pretty well. Like, we understand that. As you said, you know, we've made a lot of mistakes, and you didn't say that, but you said there's probably been a lot of trial and error, but in our past, there's been a lot of trial and error. We've really kind of figured out how to deliver classes, but now it's like, how do we recreate what we've done in our gyms in other people's spaces? So how can we mentor people to do that? And I think that's the step that we've been like wanting to take for a while, but not quite figured out how yet. So I think that's the direction we start to head with Warm Up and Workout.
Do you think you stay in California? I mean, clearly you have that the compound that you are sorry, your homestead. Silly me.
It is a very defensible space. We've got one lane road that comes. It's like we got solar. Like, it's a compound. You can call it a compound.
You got the 3 boys to teach and protect it when the zombies come, right? It's all good. Smart.
Exactly. That's what we're doing. Yeah, I think we stay in California. If anything, we'd somehow figure out a way to, you know, travel a lot while also being in California, have the home base there, and then travel.
Are you guys both still on level 1 staff? Is that on pause? Is that something?
I'm still on staff. Taz removed herself from staff when she started doing the baby thing.
Yeah.
Because the way it worked was if I went off on a weekend, she would have to be with the kids, and if she went off on a weekend, I would have to be with the kids. But I've been on staff for like 8 years longer, So I've been on staff for like 8 years longer, which mean, and staff is based pay off of how long you've been on staff. So I would make, even though I'm probably worse at doing it, I would make a lot more than she did. So it made sense for me to work just
So what's that look like as far as like, are you, I mean, with Coach Glassman kind of stepping out, Eric Rosa coming in, Nicole Carroll coming back, kind of that, did you see anything differently? Did like that kind of, that cohort kind of hold tight and stay the same? And outside of all the COVID stuff, do you know what, like, was it kind of a rocky couple, 6 months, 7 months?
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, not personally, because I'm not super, super close to that. Like I'm in Santa Cruz, but I mean, you being an affiliate would have had a rocky time with it, and you're not like best buds with Greg or anything.
Right.
Yeah. You're part of the community. So being within the community, it was a rocky time, but honestly, I mean, I've got a lot of positivity moving forward. I think there's some great people and some great places and some weird inappropriate things are now gone. I'm not saying Greg specifically, but I'm saying just a lot of stuff that was created within the company is being intentionally broken down in a way to be more business-like. And CrossFit has needed a leader like that for a long time. Like Greg's a brilliant visionary, but in terms of being a very good leader, like those are two very different things, like very different things. Like if you read any book on leadership, none's going to say like, yep, the visionary has to be the leader. Like that's not how it works, So we've needed somebody who's a leader for a long time. And, I have my fingers crossed that Eric can be that guy. And I know there's a lot of great people within our organization who are already there, who are getting to step into these leadership roles. So I'm positive for the future, but yeah, it's definitely rocky, definitely like hard times.
I guess and I understand, like that was kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of, that was like a duh type of, I guess what I was meaning or asking is sort of, I have to imagine, right? You get your next 6 weeks out, next 8 weeks out, like here are the level ones available. Do you want to do them? Was it sort of like business as usual as far as for you, or was it kind of a, maybe it's time I step away from these level ones, like that? And again, like, and I totally agree and understand with your answer, but kind of that having done 20 years in an organization of the Navy, there were never a moment where I was like, oh, I just don't trust this place or think, right? Like I don't think I'm going to be an American anymore. I'm good. Right. Like that.
Gotcha.
So, and even with CrossFit, like there was never a moment for us where we were like, you know what, we're just not going to be an affiliate. We actually went the complete opposite way. And we're like, no. We're sticking around because we believe in everything it was. And so that's sort of where what my question was.
Yeah. I think much more of what you just said there, whereas like the CrossFit methodology and CrossFit as a program needs to exist. So like the second like stuff went down the way it was, I think we both were just like, we are committed to CrossFit.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not we'll legally be allowed to call it CrossFit, like that's a different story. But like CrossFit, constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity, the micro gym style with the intention of increasing work capacity across broad time and all domains. Like that's what we believe in, and that has to exist. Like there's nothing in our minds that was like we need to step away from that. But there was definitely a time where I was like, I don't know what the main organization's going to do, and I don't know how things are going to fall out. And I think it would have been, we had to just be like, we have to wait. We're not going to make a super emotional decision right now, but we need to wait and see what's up.
Yeah, that's good. I like the way you say that. And again, like you guys have done, from the outside looking in, you'd put yourselves in a position where you kind of crafted a product and a business that never had to sacrifice its ethos with warm up and workout, that always was more about using the methodology to improve a affiliate small business's experience to be of service to its clients. And so like that's a very talented move that I feel like you two did. And it's authentic. it's simple in the sense of it kept it simple and, you know, singularity of focus. Like that's really impressive. So I kind of have a question of like, as new, right, like we're new to the party, we're new to your party. What do you want from us? Like, what kind of stuff can we continue to do for you guys to like, right? We're joiners in general. Like we like to get in on it. He's really good at social media stuff. Like what kind of stuff do you like to see from your peeps?
Well, I think, you know, like Pat said about, you know, we're trying to move more towards the relationship mindset stuff for affiliates, and, you know, just more like into like leadership and what that means for an affiliate owner, and all the just everything that kind of encompasses that and affiliates. And I think for us, what we really want to hear from our affiliates is like, what do you guys want from that? Do you want courses? Do you want more videos? Do you want to be involved? Like I think in the past, we haven't done a great job of highlighting our affiliates, and we've actually hired someone to help us with a lot more stuff right now, and we're kind of getting more amongst it. So, you know, like getting getting more involved with what you guys are doing, not just like you personally, but your affiliates. Like share one great thing that, you know, a member had. Like we want to know. And I think it's kind of also, we're craving like that affiliate like connection. So to answer your question, two things, like what do you want from us so that we can help more affiliates? And then secondly, we want to hear more stories. I think just like the more stories, the better. And it makes us feel like more involved and more connected with our affiliates and the owners. And
it doesn't even need to be warm up and workout stories. It could just be stories about stuff that you're doing that's awesome. Like I want to hear it from on the ground level, because
we don't really hear it. And I think that's the disconnect that we're feeling right now. And that's sort of where every now and then we're like, well, just need to open up an affiliate, you know. But I think that's kind of a hasty decision. But really, we just need to connect with the affiliates that we have. You know, we have a lot of resources out there, and I think you guys are all such great resources, and we definitely learn from you. You know, we take all the feedback on board. If somebody says, hey, this was weird, or this, you know, like, why did you do this? And we're like, well, you know what? Sorry, let me pause.
No worries.
He wants you to watch him play Batman. You want to watch? Awesome. You want to watch? Okay.
You play.
You show Mama. Mama will show you.
Oh, you want me to watch you?
Do it. You want to play? Yeah. You want to play? Okay. We're not driving anymore, in case you didn't figure that out.
No.
You can edit those out.
I love that they are coming over the top rope, right? Like that. It is like a straight up wrestling match, and it is awesome.
It's definitely a wrestling match. Yeah, I know you want that.
Our 2-year-old is obsessed with planes. Obsessed.
Yeah.
Okay, but you need to go sit in the
You need to go sit in your seat, and I'll give you this, okay?
So how old is everyone?
We have a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, nearly 5, and an 8-year-old.
Hi, guys.
You gotta say hi.
Well done. Hello there, man.
Awesome, guys.
You guys are being great.
They don't get to play games very often, so they're very fixated on.
They're stoked to get to play games right now.
Yeah, I don't want to like.
Welcome, gents.
We have a I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit. We have a portion of the podcast where we do a gratitude, and so like, what's our gratitude, and so like this right now, like you guys and your kids. So like, I've been listening to your podcast for a long time, and if anything, like not even for the CrossFit side of it, but like how you guys parent, how you guys just manage like doing all these things with a family. And like, one of the first podcasts we did together, I had my daughter with me who was less than a year old, and she like blew up her diaper like in the middle of the podcast.
We got
right
on the wall.
Yeah, it was just like,
it was
like, but that was like early on. I mean, I was coaching 9:30. I was coaching classes with her like on me, and for the longest time I used to think to myself like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Like, I don't know if I should be. Like, should I be doing this? Like, is this good for her? Is this good for the business? Right. Am I holding Jack back by like, you know, trying to manage having a new kid, a new baby, and a new family. Like she was my first. And maybe now we just had our second. He's 2 months old, and like I'm leaving the house today to come down and do this, and like, you know, my daughter who's now like 3.5, she's like kind of getting pissed because I think she's hungry, but she wants to watch Frozen, and my 2-month-old, he just had a procedure where he's not very comfortable right now, and he's like, when he's awake, he's like screaming, and my wife, and so it's just like. So anyway, I'm like getting emotional because I see you guys, and like I know on like the surface, like the pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all this looks amazing, but like you can do that. It can be this mess where they're climbing over top of you trying to get to the game, but like you get through these and you move on to the next thing, and so it just makes it like I see you guys and you have your compound, and so like what you guys do really resonates with me a lot, and I think actually a lot with my wife too. It's kind of like this is what you're so like your kids are very much involved in everything you do. Like you're doing your videos and the kids are in the background. Like it's I live for my kids and I love having them be part of this. I'm sorry. I'm just like, you guys are awesome. So I just wanted you to know.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate
this is like
that.
outside of the CrossFit thing. Like I love seeing how you guys do it because it's like as messy as it looks and probably feels. It's like that's what I want, you know, and that's what I feel like I have at the same time.
If you're wondering, if you're wondering how people show up that have never done CrossFit and yet they will still just get under a bar and do front squats, they're now a couple. They've been with us for like a year and a half. I gave them the whole like improve work capacity, cross broad middle time to maze, metabolic pathway. He walks over. He goes, "You guys are awesome. Let's front squat." And they.
Yeah, I'm like the emotional.
He is the one. This is the one that they all follow him, the Pied Piper.
Yeah,
and that's why.
I don't know why awesome. I'm like this right now.
That was
it's
awesome,
been a long day
because you're exhausted because you have a 2-month-old and you don't sleep.
So anyway, so just
I think it's been a long year. I think you know. Well, I think talking about the messy part. Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I think parenting is really just about how uncomfortable can you feel whilst doing normal tasks. And I think CrossFit really helps with that. It's like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. It really is about that. And I think every kid you have, you build a little bit more resiliency through each one. Yeah. And, you know, we like to put ourselves in the really uncomfortable. A lot of our friends look at us and they just get anxiety by looking at what we do.
Right.
They've admitted that to us. You know, we travel the world with our kids, which is not easy, but for us it's worth it. We you know, we have 4 dogs and 23 chickens and stuff, and I think it's really messy, and right now I think we're having an extra hard time just because it's 2020 and everything is deciding to, you know, not work out for us. But I think it just builds resiliency, and if we can, you know, inspire 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, we're honored that you're inspired.
Yeah,
you know, like incredibly. Like I mean, I've had this thought a lot recently. It's like I multiple times a day feel like an utter failure, like as a father, as a person, and it's just like, you know, you can logically and, you know, look at your life and go, yeah, things are really good. You know, like it's such better place than so many people, and I've got so many things going on, but like there's definitely things where it's like I'm on my phone too much, or like I genuinely daily think I'm a failure in so many areas. And it's cool to hear when, you know, I hope that comes through, that like things aren't easy, because like when like social media is so curated, and I find it such a vapid, horrible place, and it's very hard for me to be a part of it, but it's part of our business. But it's like, you know, I mean, like it's so difficult, like especially the world we're living in right now. It's so hard, and it's hard's all relative. It's like
like you guys don't try to, like I feel like so many times like people try to make it look easy, and like you don't try to hide it. Like this thing is, you know what? If my kids are gonna be, Jack said it one time when I said something about like I feel like by having my daughter on me while I'm coaching, and sometimes she was crying, and it was like is it taking away from the members' experience? And Jack said to me, he's like, look, if they have a problem with it, then maybe this isn't the space for them, because this is who we are and this is who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Totally.
exactly.
So I hear that in my head all the time.
We try to make it real easy for people to quit as quickly as possible.
Right. So it's like, this is
like if this is gonna be offensive, we aren't gonna go. We're not gonna stick around. You're not gonna stick around a whole lot.
But it's just like, it's just like,
we're big dumb animals.
Yeah. But it's just, and I think Jack and I try, like, we're giving you everything we have to make this the best we can for you. And if that's not enough for you, there's other gyms in the area. Give them a try.
Yeah.
By all means.
Right.
Oh,
and
man.
I think it's real, I think having the kids in the background, having the kids around, that's real life. And I think maybe before CrossFit or maybe in other professions, it's not professional to have your children around, and you should be wearing, polo shirts when you do videos. I remember someone said that to us. They're like, you should be wearing, warm up and workout clothes, and your gym needs to be looking a certain way. And we kind of were like, what? Okay. Like, I guess it's not that professional, is it? And then we were like, well, this is our life, and we're not trying to separate our life. We're not trying to separate our business from our life. It's all the same thing to us.
Right. And it's that line.
That's
right?
why.
In I know in an academic setting, that's sort of you either know it or you don't. It works or it doesn't, right? And so there's a quantitative element. Like, yeah, sure. Like don't be unprofessional or don't break the law. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, if it works and people like it and it's authentic and it gets the job done, that's part of the experience, I think, right? Like, Pat, you did a video, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the workout videos. You had a beer on, I'm assuming it was a beer. Like, it looked like a beer bottle, and it was and I was like, that's freaking awesome, right? And so I'm like, and then sometimes it's a coffee cup, sometimes it's a red Solo, like sometimes, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're doing them when you can fit them in.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like a line of Coke one time.
I did pay close attention to when I had that beer and where I put it, and which those were. Like, I definitely pay attention to it all, because I think there is a sense of like, this is us, but we could always be better. We could always, like, I think there, and you have to, like, have this. For us, it's like a guiding set of beliefs, and then you can kind of mold stuff around it. Like, maybe it is offensive if you don't change your baby's diaper, and say, okay, we're coaching classes and I'm just not going to change my baby's diaper ever. So he walks around smelling terrible. And it's like, well, maybe we could learn from that, and we could still have the kid there, but I'm going to change his diaper because that's just pretty offensive. Like, there's always a way you can, like, refine it and make it more palatable. I don't think you need to be like, I'm me, I'm never going to change, but I love the reality of
we can always be better. But our kids are always going to be there.
Our kids are always going to be there. They're digging right now the fact that they get to watch playing.
Right. That's the compromises we make sometimes, just for the few minutes.
So I don't know. Do you guys have? Is there and I know I gave you a kind of the warning on we'd ask about gratitude, and we kind of danced around stuff. But is there anything specific that you can think of, or right, like as big as, like I said, the Dalai Lama and his quest for world peace, or that burrito you ate on the way out the door this morning? It can be on anywhere on that spectrum.
On the way out this morning.
It was a good burrito. Pat did a good job. Well. Are you asking the question?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, well, for me specifically right now, for the last 6 months, I'm going to give you the whole story. Pat, like, my parents live in New Zealand, and I have another brother that lives in Ireland, so we're all scattered around the world. And when COVID started and New Zealand closed their borders, I started getting this sort of like underlying kind of like, if something happened to my parents right now, I wouldn't be able to go see them. And I would bring it up often, and I would, like, lose sleep over it. I talk to my brothers about it, like, mom and dad are getting old, we need to start seeing them. I need to start seeing them more. Like, I can count on my hand if I only see them once a year. What if they die in 5 years? That's 5 times I'm going to see my parents again. So I kept having these, like, thoughts. Anyway, we were in Hawaii trying to have a vacation from life, trying to just step outside and have a week vacation. And my father had a heart attack while we were in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And so my worst nightmare happened, and I was in Hawaii. I was 6 hours away from New Zealand, but I couldn't get there because there's no flights to New Zealand right now, and the borders are pretty much dead closed, even to people whose parents are dying. And so it was just this, it was a really tough time. And for like some miraculous reason, Dad didn't die, and he survived, and he's gone through a quadruple bypass, and he's at home right now. So right now I'm just so grateful for that, because I wasn't ready for one of my parents to die just yet. I just wasn't ready for it. So I feel like this has given, my dad and my mom and my brothers all like just another opportunity to kind of realize how, finite life is, and make more of an effort to sort of see each other around the world. And yeah, that's what I'm currently grateful for.
Thanks for sharing that, Taz.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I mean, and I'm really glad for your dad and your family. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Can you edit it so mine's before hers, and then that
Right.
because mine's not as deep. Yeah, I thought about it this morning because I knew you had that question, and we didn't have the greatest morning due to our miscommunication and hopping on the road and all this stuff that's going on. But I'm really grateful for music. I'm really grateful for good musicians who put their heart and soul into songs that kind of open you up and touch you like nothing else. And I don't think everyone vibes the same way with music, but for me, it just like opens up a place in me that I can make me get perspective or feel feelings. And yeah, so music.
I watched, that's a good one. I watched, I have a couple colleagues I teach a class with still, and they're much better at knowing the good music that's out there, and they make suggestions. So Matt Beringer, who's the lead singer of The National, I don't know if you know that band, and his guitarist does a series of songs with Taylor Swift and her most recent album. And so Apple TV has like a documentary of her explaining it, and they re-record the whole album live at her compound. But there's a song, and so I was telling them about it, and they were judging me and making fun of me because they're like, really? All the music we offer you and you're listening to Taylor Swift, dude? Like, come on, you're better than that. And I'm like, no, there's one that she does with the lead singer from Bon Iver, and it's amazing. And so I feel you, man. It works. What music makes the difference. Definitely.
Can I ask you who it was this morning that got you there?
Music.
Yeah.
I found, apparently this guy's like, I forget what his name is. I'm just going to pull it up real quick. But I found a YouTube video of this song. Matt Corby. Mattcorby. Apparently it's like an 11-year-old song, but he has a song called Brother. So if you look acoustic recording of it, it's like a live thing of him playing it in this studio in Australia, and it is awesome, and it's heavy, and I just, I lost it. I was like crying a bit. I mean, they were super big manly tears, so it didn't really matter.
Well done. Good recovery. Good recovery. You have the beard, you can pull it off. Whatever. Well, mine, I'll go last, and mine, I'm going to edit it, all of ours, so that Taz is his last.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
Yeah. Mine is definitely this podcast. We started it, we're at 140, almost 150 episodes. But one thing that we've really tried to do is we don't ever miss a week. Like it's non-negotiable. And even if it's a 15-minute, like one of us on camera because the other one can't make it or whatever. And this week I had to take my son. I have a 16-year-old and then twin 14-year-olds. So they break a lot of things, both on themselves and in the vicinity of them. And so the 14-year-old played football with some friends on turf without shoes, and he broke his big toe. Imagine that. Ooh, jackass. So I love him. The guy's awesome. He's awesome. But we had to take him. And so I missed this week's, and I texted him in the last minute and said, yo, man, sorry, I'm missing Tuesdays or Wednesdays recording. And he found a friend of ours that has since moved out of the area down to North Carolina, and they recorded it. And so this podcast facilitated me getting to see somebody that we haven't seen in like 6 months, 7 months. And it was awesome. It was like I got to be there. And then this, and we've had the opportunity to record other people and just get to know them. And it made me realize like, these are the things that could feel like work, but they're really just incredible opportunities to get to meet new people and do this stuff. And it's awesome. So thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks, man, for
you're welcome.
keeping us honest on this.
Yeah, man. Likewise.
Yeah. Man, that's inspiring. I think that could go last.
We did skip our joke,
that.
and I have one for you guys because in the vicinity, I think we are really close. It's like this this thing I read about this snowman. He just he lost it. He had this huge temper tantrum, and he apologized afterwards for the big meltdown that he had.
Oh, boom!
I was holding on to that one. I was holding on to that one for a long time.
That's funny.
Awesome.
Sorry, I cracked myself up.
No, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, man.
So anything else? Last words, last thoughts. We want to let you guys, boogie before you do have the meltdown.
No, we're good. We thank you guys so much for this. I think it was actually good to chat it out. I think. Not that I was questioning whether or not it would be good. I'm happy that it worked out. Sorry, it had to be in our car and not with a nice high-speed internet and nice cameras and mics.
Yeah.
Hey, it helped. I think it created a little ambiance, and I think we nailed it, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Cool.
All right. Well, I'm sure we will chat again, and we'll definitely I don't know, we'll be in touch on stuff. So I look forward to a long and fun relationship.
Great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
I'm in.
We do too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
All right. You guys take care.
Bye.
All right. Well, we can we can close it out. We're not going anywhere, and now it's just us.
Well, before you, it's so funny because this whole day talking about just people losing it.
Yeah.
It's like
something's going. Some I think the reality of this new horn is just fatiguing.
Well,
right? Like the fatigue is setting in. So
I was
totally legit.
Yeah. But even that, I'm leaving to get on my way here, and my neighbor was out in the hallway losing their mind because they had food delivered last night. And they swear someone stole it. And I'm telling you, it was such an overreaction because the chicken was bland, the mashed potatoes were cold. Just really big overreaction.
I hope I'll send them. I hope they listen to this whole thing and they listen through that because that was really well done. I'm in. I'm like, yeah, that's tough. I'm sure they overreacted or whatever. And I didn't get it at first.
Well, then Meg was mad at me because she's like, you never buy me. She's like, you never buy flour. No, never mind. I had another joke. Leave it. Anyway.
They didn't have a dog, did they? I mean, maybe the dog, some dogs really like to do magic.
They do?
Yeah.
What kind of dog is that, Jack?
A Labracadabra.
Oh.
That was my number 2.
Yeah.
My snowman was number 1. I got a laugh out of that one last night.
Poop jokes are usually my number 2.
Yeah. Well, and my number 3 was, I always feel bad, right? I always feel bad for the part of the body that always loses.
Oh yeah, what's that?
The defeat.
I
ruined it.
Defeat,
not the defeat.
So glad they were gone for these last couple. Hey though, when it rains, it pours. And when it rains and if it rains too much, if you need an arc, I know a guy.
They've derailed.
Yeah. Right.
All right, folks.
Maybe we should cut this out.
No, this is too good. That was a ton of fun. And for our longtime listeners, whatever, who've been with us for a while, there you go. That's
cool.
That's Taz and Pat Barber, and those are the experts leading us through the next couple months, years, whatever long that relationship is. But that's why you are so sore this week, not because of us.
Yeah. Don't shoot the messengers.
Now, incredible program, incredible people, incredible family.
It.
And I'm really excited and glad to be a part of what they got going on. And they are now off the creek in Cali. Yeah. And so we got CA out there. And But we will see you guys on the creek.